For us English speakers, pronouncing Mohawk names can be very, very difficult. They look very different than they sound. But flip that for a sec and think about how difficult it is to be Mohawk, have a Mohawk name, and have to correct people when they say your name wrong again and again and again. One Mohawk woman at SUNY Canton started a project to try to change that. But it blossomed into something much bigger, something that's attracting more Native students to the university. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And the Devlin Inn and Suites, Lake Placid, welcoming families, athletes, and groups to the Olympic Village, offering Adirondack mountain views and dog-friendly accommodations. TheDevlinNY.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Wednesday, May 7th. First up, President Donald Trump appears to be working to clear the potential field of Republican candidates for next year's race for governor. On social media yesterday, Trump posted endorsements of Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman and Hudson Valley Congressman Mike Lawler to run for re-election to their current offices. Both are considered possible GOP challengers for governor. His preferences come as Stefanik's erstwhile pick for UN ambassador, North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, also mulls a run for governor. Trump did not post about Stefanik, perhaps signaling his preference for her to challenge Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul as the GOP candidate. Hochul could also face a Democratic primary in 2026. The group marketing the former General Motors property in Massena says it's taken a major step forward. The rail company CSX has put it on a national list of prime sites for redevelopment. That would have been unthinkable 15 years ago, when the 200-acre parcel along the St. Lawrence River was severely contaminated and completely abandoned. When General Motors shuttered its plant in 2008, it laid off hundreds of people in Massena and left behind land saturated with cancer-causing PCBs. It was declared a Superfund site, the designation for the most toxic industrial places in America. A federal trust called Racer was put in charge of cleaning it up and getting it back on the market, a massive project that took most of a decade and is now done.
It has a lot going for it.
Racer's Bruce Rasher says the site's proximity to Canada and the fact that it has its own rail spur makes it attractive to a manufacturer or a warehousing company.
Potentially a user that could be a significant economic development opportunity for the North Country.
In fact, Rasher says they thought they had a sale a few months ago, but a company he's not allowed to name pulled out at the last minute because it couldn't negotiate a deal for electricity.
So we mutually agreed to terminate the purchase and sale agreement.
Now Racer is pivoting back to the market, and it got good news recently. The rail giant CSX named the site one of 18 nationwide to get a select site designation, the only one in New York.
We think it's a big deal in terms of the offering of this site to the market.
Another piece of good news, believe it or not, Rasher says, is President Donald Trump's tariff war against Canada.
It is clear that the current administration is seeking to induce companies to locate their manufacturing operations in the U.S.
Like right there in Massena. As for that Superfund designation that doesn't exactly scream "buy me," Rasher says they're in the process of getting it delisted. But that will take work from the Environmental Protection Agency, which has been gutted by Trump administration cuts. Some Mohawk students at SUNY Canton have been working on a project they hope makes campus more welcoming for Native Americans. Last month, they celebrated how far the project has come with a trivia night. Catherine Wheeler was there and brings us this story.
Inside the Unitarian Universalist Church, SUNY Canton students are setting up for a trivia night, unfolding tables and scooting chairs around. Two women set down bowls filled with bright pink liquid. Tiny pieces of strawberry float at the top. Sunny Thompson-Garrow, one of the organizers, ladles it out of her mom's punch bowl and into cups.
Okay, this is strawberry drink.
It's a mix of finely chopped strawberries, water, and a little maple syrup. It smells just like the fresh fruit and tastes more refreshing than sweet. Thompson-Garrow says the drink is a tradition at ceremonies and celebrations in Akwesasne.
When we'd have socials in elementary school, they'd all bring it in and we'd all get little cups and go up for seconds, thirds.
It's one of the ways the organizers are showing that tonight is a little different than your standard pub trivia.
Half the questions are going to be just regular trivia questions, and the other half is Akwesasne and Haudenosaunee cultural questions.
That's Jawinduni George. She says this is a fundraiser for the project that she began over a year ago at SUNY Canton. In 2023, George and her sociology professor, Daniel McLean, started the Mohawk Names Initiative. The idea grew out of an experience that George had had countless times before, but McLean was having for the first. He couldn't pronounce her name when he was taking roll for class.
So I said, there should be some resource. Is there a resource here? She said, I don't think there is.
Since then, they've been developing short videos on basic Mohawk pronunciation and culture.
K sounds like K, R, L, S, Z.
We've also had help from elders do these educational videos to help show people outside of our community how to pronounce our names and our language better to kind of connect and give us the respect that we deserve.
Trivia night starts.
No.
Tables fill up with students, professors, and a few community members. Sunny Thompson-Garrow's family jokes around while trying to figure out the answers.
Well, everyone can hear it. I don't know how to spell that.
Question: what are the 6 nations that make up the Haudenosaunee Confederacy? For those playing at home, it's the Seneca, Tuscarora, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk.
Was that the third question?
What does Akwesasne mean?
Akwesasne means land with partridge drums. Yeah. Where are the partridge drums? Yep.
These ladies are Mohawk, and they feel pretty confident in their answers, but Gailitu Garrow says her generation wasn't taught Mohawk culture in school.
It was almost like forbidden, so I grew up not really knowing a lot about my culture, just in later years. And I still don't know a lot. I have so much to learn.
That doesn't stop their table from taking home the top prize, but other groups do pretty well too. George says the cultural questions were a learning opportunity, just like her project.
It's not disrespectful if you don't know something, if you were never taught something. So I think it's kind of fun just to, learn something new if you haven't been exposed to that before.
The Mohawk Names Initiative has evolved into something bigger than George and McLean expected. For one, their team grew. They brought on Thompson-Garrow to help. McLean says he's watched them change as they become more connected to themselves.
These students, who they get to be, what they get to learn, who they get to understand that they are by doing a project like this, that's the real outcome. That's the real Mohawk Names Initiative.
The project has actually reshaped campus. George says after word got out, she kept meeting Native students who were considering coming to SUNY Canton.
That made them want to come here. So our Native population actually has increased since we started all of this. And we were able to create the Native Student Alliance.
George says the group has been a really important tool to connect students.
Having a club like that where you can experience your own culture in like a safe space really, I think, helps a lot of the students that do attend our meetings kind of feel a little bit more comfortable being away from home.
George says Native American students face a lot of challenges with college, ranging from social and cultural to financial. But their work here is making a real impact for her people. For Sunny Thompson-Garrow, this all came at just the right time. She was new on campus, but soon enough, she was folded into a community and a project that's made her rethink her future.
Before I went into this internship, I wanted to leave. I wanted to get away. I wanted to go do my own thing. But now I want to take things I know and things I'm able to bring and provide for my community.
Thompson-Garrow gets goosebumps when she thinks about what all their work has accomplished. She says it drives her to keep pushing for more schools to use the resources they've created and help make Native students feel respected. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio in Canton.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid and December Wind of Akwesasne. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.